The internet is holding its breath. The Harris family, once the royal household of Southern hip-hop, is now living through what feels like a nightmare straight out of a tragic Netflix biopic. King Harris, T.I. and Tiny's outspoken, controversy-loving son is reportedly clinging to life after a brutal jail assault that's left fans, celebrities, and even his enemies in total disbelief. And when I say disbelief, I mean the kind that breaks algorithms. The kind that makes even the Kardashians look like background extras in this real-life drama. Because T.I., the man who once called himself King of the South, just posted the most gut-wrenching message of his entire career. A plea so raw, so emotional, it's shaking the internet harder than a Drake album drop at midnight. One moment, King Harris was flexing for clout. The next, he's fighting for his life. And now, T.I.'s world is crumbling in real time while social media watches like it's the Super Bowl of sadness. The internet is in chaos. Fans are crying, haters are confused, and the industry? Silent. But here's the part nobody's talking about, the shocking twist behind this whole tragedy. Because what's happening to King Harris might not be an accident. It might be a message. It all started like every other headline in the unpredictable saga of the Harris family. Loud, dramatic, and impossible to ignore. King Harris, the son of hip-hop legend T.I. and reality TV queen Tiny, was supposed to be the next generation's wild child prince of Atlanta. But now that crown feels more like a curse. One moment he's trending for showing off designer chains and viral arguments, and the next he's fighting for his life behind bars. And let's be honest, when the story first broke, nobody believed it. King Harris? In serious condition? Nah, that's gotta be clickbait, people said. But within hours, verified news pages and industry insiders confirmed what fans feared. King had been assaulted inside jail, and the injuries were bad. Like, this ain't a rumor, this is survival bad. Then came the footage, grainy, shocking, and hard to watch. You could feel the chaos in every pixel. The same kid who had once bragged about being built for the streets was now lying on the cold floor, motionless. It spread faster than wildfire. Blogs reposted it, Twitter exploded, and TikTok turned it into a digital panic attack. Comments flooded timelines, not King Harris. This is too far. Somebody tell T.I. now. And then T.I. spoke. The man who's seen beefs, betrayals, and scandals looked completely broken. His Instagram post was short, but the emotion behind it hit harder than any diss track. Lord, if you're listening, don't take my son before his time. That one line sent shockwaves through the entire internet. This wasn't T.I. the rapper. This wasn't the TV personality. This was a father begging the universe to give him mercy. It was the kind of pain that made even his critics stop talking. For once, the internet put down its pitchforks. The comments were flooded with prayers and crying emojis. Artists, actors, and even political figures began reposting the plea. Stay strong tip. Praying for your family. God, not King. You could practically feel the sorrow crawling through the screen. But behind the scenes, whispers were already growing louder. What really happened in that jail? Because the official story, a disagreement that turned violent, wasn't cutting it. People wanted answers. Fans started pulling up King's old live streams, remembering the countless times he talked about wanting to prove he was real. It wasn't long before the narrative took a darker turn. King wasn't just jumped. This was a setup, one viral post claimed. He was targeted, another said. Twitter became a true crime forum overnight. Some pointed fingers at rival inmates who wanted clout for taking down a celebrity kid. Others suggested it was bigger, that this wasn't street beef at all, but a message to his father. Because when you're T.I., your enemies don't come for you, they go after what you love. And that's when the story got eerie. An anonymous insider, allegedly connected to someone on the inside, told a gossip blog that King had been threatened days before. They claimed someone had told him, "You not your daddy, you just talk tough." Fans speculated that this wasn't random, that someone wanted to make an example out of him. But while conspiracy theories were going viral, T.I. was losing his mind in real time. He reportedly rushed to the hospital the moment his team confirmed King was in critical care. Witnesses said he looked hollow, panicked, and shaking. The same man who once strutted through award shows in tailored suits was now pacing hospital floors in tears. Tiny was reportedly by his side, crying silently, praying out loud. For a family used to fame, this was something no camera could glamorize. This wasn't reality TV. This was real reality, raw, painful, and irreversible. And you could feel the internet shifting. Influencers who once joked about King's fake street persona suddenly changed their tone. We all clowned him, but nobody deserves this. This generation plays with pain too easily. People were suddenly reminded that behind the fame, behind the bravado, there's still a kid, a son, a human being. Meanwhile, fans started digging deeper into King's recent weeks. His last few Instagram posts now looked like red flags. Captions like, "They gon' feel me soon," and "No love where I'm headed" resurfaced and went viral. Was that foreshadowing? Or coincidence? Either way, it sent chills through timelines. And while the internet speculated, one question kept echoing: why was King even there? T.I. had tried to warn him. Everyone remembers that viral moment where father and son argued on live TV about street credibility. T.I. told him, "You not built for this, son." King had clapped back, saying he'd been in them trenches. It was supposed to be a family debate until it became prophecy. Fans now replayed that clip like a curse. He said it. T.I. said this would happen. He tried to save him from himself. The parallels were haunting. The father who built his empire from the streets was watching his son crumble in the same system he escaped. And no matter how many zeros are in your bank account, you can't buy immunity from pain. News outlets started camping outside the hospital. Reporters tried to get statements. But T.I. wasn't talking. His silence was louder than a siren. The only update came from Tiny, who posted a photo of her holding King's hand with the caption, "Still fighting? Still ours." The comment section turned into a war zone of emotions. Half the world was praying. The other half was blaming. This is what happens when fame raises kids instead of fathers. He wanted the streets. Now look. It was brutal, heartless, and pure internet chaos, but through all the noise, one thing was clear: T.I. wasn't just mourning his son's condition. He was mourning his own legacy. The image of the powerful, untouchable rap mogul was cracking in front of millions. His enemies smelled weakness. His fans felt heartbreak. And his peers? They were whispering behind closed doors. Some insiders claimed T.I. was making calls, big ones. "He's demanding answers," one source said. "He wants to know who did this and why." Others said he was blaming himself. "He's asking God what he did wrong." He's questioning everything. And honestly, who could blame him? This wasn't just a PR nightmare. This was every parent's worst fear. The internet could joke all it wanted, but for T.I., this was personal apocalypse. By the time the first night passed, the internet was glued to updates. Fans camped in comment sections. YouTubers went live with fake insider information. Hashtags like #pray for King Harris and #stay strong tips started trending globally. This wasn't a story anymore. It was an obsession. And while the world waited for updates, something darker was bubbling underneath, because word on the street said T.I. wasn't the only one pleading. Someone else, someone close to the incident, had just started talking. And what they said would change everything. By the next morning, the internet had turned into one massive digital prayer circle mixed with chaos, conspiracy, and emotional whiplash. Every celebrity blog, every hip-hop commentator, every influencer with a mic was weighing in on King Harris' condition. It wasn't just a story, it was the story. You couldn't open your phone without seeing T.I.'s tear-streaked face or a slow-motion clip of King's last public appearance. But this wasn't your usual celebrity in trouble saga. This was personal. Because the moment T.I.'s emotional plea hit Instagram, something inside the culture shifted. You could feel it, like the universe itself hit pause. Fans said, "This isn't a rapper moment, this is a father moment." Celebrities who never agreed on anything were suddenly united in grief. Even Nicki Minaj posted on her story, "Prayers up for the Harris family. No parent deserves this pain." Boosie went live looking visibly emotional, saying, "This hurt my soul, man. I seen that boy grow up." Cardi B tweeted, "This world too cold. Protect your babies." Even 50 Cent, who usually can't resist a petty moment, stayed silent. That silence alone said everything. But while the world was sending prayers, a darker storm was brewing online. Because the internet, being the internet, couldn't let tragedy live without twisting it. Suddenly, theories started exploding out of nowhere. King was targeted. This was revenge for T.I.'s past. Beefs. This wasn't random. Someone sent a message. And that's when one name started popping up. An anonymous source close to the situation. This so-called insider went viral on Twitter claiming the attack on King wasn't a fight gone wrong. It was planned. The people who did it knew who he was and what it would do. Fans went wild. This was a setup. They wanted to humiliate T.I. through his son. The streets never forget. Before long, the conversation turned into a full-blown investigation. Reddit threads looked like digital detective agencies. People were posting screenshots, analyzing security footage, slowing down clips frame by frame like it was CSI Atlanta. And the theories got darker with every scroll. Some said King had gotten into it with inmates connected to an old rival. Others whispered that it was payback from people who felt disrespected by T.I.'s comments years ago about street life. Meanwhile, TMZ dropped an update that made everything worse. King Harris remains in critical condition. T.I. and Tiny have not left his bedside. The picture attached to the report showed T.I. walking out of the hospital. Eyes red, face hollow, hoodie pulled tight. It wasn't the usual flashy rapper we're used to. It was a man shattered, and that's when the clip surfaced. A new video allegedly from someone inside the jail. It showed the moments leading up to the attack. King surrounded, tense, still talking tough. But then it cuts. You can hear shouting, chaos, a loud crash, and then silence. That clip, only 15 seconds long, broke the internet. Fans started flooding timelines with grief, outrage, and guilt. We laughed when he said he wanted the streets. Now look. He was a kid trying to prove something. In a world waiting for him to fail. This generation glorifies struggle. Until it gets real. Even T.I.'s old interviews started resurfacing, especially that one conversation where he told King, "You keep playing with the streets, you gonna find out they don't love nobody." Fans quoted it everywhere. He tried to warn him. He knew this day was coming. The story was spiraling into something bigger than one tragedy. It had become a mirror, reflecting how fame, pride, and pain collide in the world of celebrity families. T.I. built a legacy by escaping the streets. King was trying to prove he could survive them. It was a tragic loop, a generational echo that made even the toughest fans emotional. But then came the twist. Nobody expected. The hospital leaked out someone inside the medical center posted a picture online, blurry but recognizable, showing T.I. sitting beside King's bed, holding his son's hand. The caption said, "He's been here all night. He hasn't eaten. He keeps saying, I'd trade places if I could." That one image shattered hearts across the internet. Celebrities reposted it. Hashtags like #pray for King hit the #1 trend worldwide. And while most fans were praying, others started asking, how did this even happen in the first place? Where was the protection? Why was a high-profile celebrity's son not under tighter security? Questions started flooding officials' social media. The local sheriff's office was dragged through the mud. People accused the system of negligence. Y'all wanted him hurt. He's only there because of who he is. Within hours, statements started flying. The county issued a press release calling it a tragic incident under investigation. Translation: we don't want to get sued. T.I.'s lawyer spoke briefly, saying, "We're focused on King's recovery and justice for what was done." The tension was thick enough to cut with a diamond chain, and in the background, T.I. was allegedly making calls not to lawyers but to people. Real ones, old connections from his early days. The whispers grew. T.I. wants answers, not sympathy. Fans started to sense it. The tone of T.I.'s posts changed. No more public crying, just cryptic lines like, "Balance must be restored. The universe don't miss." Suddenly, everyone was scared again. Because if there's one thing history's taught us, it's this: when T.I. stops talking, someone else usually ends up trending. Meanwhile, social media began spinning the emotional wheel again. TikTok flooded with edits of King's best moments, him rapping, laughing, dancing with his mom. The soundtracks? sad piano covers of his songs. People wrote captions like, "He just wanted to make his dad proud, and he was trying to find his own identity." It was like watching the world mourn in real time, but deep down, fans couldn't shake one haunting question: was this the price of fame? Because King wasn't a regular kid. Every move he made, every argument, every live stream, the world watched. And the same internet that mocked him for acting gangsta was now crying for him. One viral tweet summed it up perfectly. "Y'all laughed when he wanted to be street. Now y'all praying like you didn't clap when he fell." Brutal. Honest. True. And through it all, Tia remained silent. No interviews. No public appearances. Just a father trying to hold his world together. Tiny posted a short update. "We feel your prayers. Please keep him lifted." The comments were pure emotion. Celebrities, fans, even people who'd never followed the Harris family before were pouring their hearts out. But then, as if this story wasn't already heavy enough, another leak dropped. A nurse allegedly overheard T.I. talking to King, saying, "Son, you don't gotta prove nothing no more. You already made me proud." That quote alone was reposted across every major platform like gospel. It was the first moment of hope after days of fear. By now, the world wasn't just watching a story, it was living it. Every update felt personal. Every rumor felt urgent. And when the hospital finally confirmed that King had been moved out of the ICU, fans worldwide erupted. He's fighting back. Miracle in motion. King Harris strong. But this wasn't the end, not even close. Because as one chapter of pain started to close, a new one was opening. Because the word on the street wasn't just that King was recovering, it was that T.I. found out who was behind it. And let's just say his next move wasn't forgiveness. It was vengeance. By the time the world heard that King Harris had finally opened his eyes, it wasn't just a moment of relief, it was a full-blown media earthquake. The timeline flipped from panic to praise in seconds. Headlines screamed, "King Harris survives the impossible," while fans flooded T.I.'s page with crying emojis, hallelujah gifs, and messages like, God wasn't done with him yet. But this miracle didn't come without aftershocks. Because the minute King whispered his first few words, the whispers outside the hospital grew 10 times louder. Everyone wanted to know who did this and why. T.I. had been silent for days. And when he finally re-emerged, he didn't come back as the grieving father. He came back as the general of the South, the same man who built an empire brick by brick. And now he was ready to defend it with blood, money, and power. His first statement wasn't an interview, it was a storm. A single post, black background, white letters. God spared my boy. But man's just better not fail him. No hashtags. No names, just that cold promise. And it hit like a THUNDERCLAP. The internet went nuclear. Everyone knew what he meant without him having to say it. Tia wasn't waiting for the courts. He was taking it personal. Every major blogger posted the message with captions like T.I. declares war, and the King of the South has spoken. And sure enough, within hours, reports started surfacing that the suspected attackers had been transferred from the jail for their safety. The timing? Suspiciously perfect. Fans joked they better hide in Antarctica, while others whispered that this wasn't just about payback. It was about sending a message to every single person. Whoever doubted how far T.I. would go for his family. Meanwhile, King Harris, weak but alive, had become the most talked about young man in America. His hospital bed was practically trending real estate. Every post about him hit millions of views. Even rival rappers were showing love. Young Thug's team posted, "Stay strong, lil bro." Boosie went live again saying, "He got that fight in him." That Harris bled strong. Even 50 Cent broke his silence with a surprisingly respectful comment. "I don't joke about stuff like that." Salute to T.I. for standing tall. But as love poured in, something darker started creeping through the cracks. Old footage of King resurfaced again, but this time it wasn't to mock him. It was to make a point. A video of him in an interview saying, "I want to make it on my own name. I ain't my pops. I'm me." Suddenly, that clip felt prophetic. The kid who wanted to carve his own legacy had almost died trying to prove it. Fans began dissecting the meaning behind T.I.'s warning post. Every caption, every emoji, every word was treated like sacred text. "God spare my boy" became a viral quote. Some said it was gratitude. Others said it was a threat. But to everyone watching, it was clear T.I. wasn't just thankful. He was furious. Tiny tried to balance the storm with her calm energy, posting, "We're just grateful. Please focus on healing and love." But it was too late. The streets were already rumbling. People claimed they saw T.I. meeting with old associates. Others swore that certain people in Atlanta had suddenly gone quiet. And while the rumor mill was spinning at lightning speed, King himself broke his silence. From his hospital bed, he posted one sentence to his Instagram story, shaky handwriting, blurry picture, but chillingly powerful. "I ain't done yet." Boom, just like that, the internet imploded again. Within minutes, it had over 5 million shares. Fans screamed, "He's awake. The prince is back. You can't kill royalty." Memes flooded TikTok with angel wings, fiery edits, and dramatic trap beats. But beneath the celebration, there was an undercurrent, something raw, emotional, and heavy dop, because this wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about redemption. The same kid who once wanted to earn his stripes had been reborn as a symbol. People started calling him the Miracle Kid of Atlanta. Whole podcasts were dedicated to analyzing his transformation. "Maybe this near-death experience will change him," one said. Another added, "This could be the wake-up call T.I. prayed for." But not everyone was in a forgiving mood. Some critics came crawling out from under the internet's basement, claiming, "This is karma." Others said, "This is what happens when parents glorify the hustle." Those comments sparked a full-on culture war in every comment section. One side defended the Harris family fiercely. "Y'all act like being born rich protects you from pain. That's still a father and his son." The other side fired back with cruel takes about privileged rebellion. But deep down, everyone knew the situation had transcended gossip. It had become a lesson. A warning, and you could tell it hit T.I. differently. Gone were the polished suits and flashy interviews. He started moving like a man with a mission. Industry insiders claimed he was working on a new documentary, not about fame. Not about rap, but about fatherhood, failure, and second chances. The tagline allegedly read, "You can't lead your people if you can't save your home." When that leak dropped, the internet went feral. He turning pain into purpose. This about to be the realest thing T.I. ever did. The man went from king of the South to father of the year. And then the most emotional twist yet, a video surfaced of T.I. visiting a youth detention center days after King was released. No cameras, no PR stunt, just him talking to young men behind glass. "You think you're proving something out here," he said, voice cracking. "But all you're proving is how fast they can bury you." The clip went viral instantly. People were in tears. "This is a different T.I., one user wrote. "He's finally living what he used to rap." King, meanwhile, slowly began appearing in short clips, smiling weakly, walking again, holding Tiny's hand. Every new glimpse went viral. Every photo felt like hope. And when he finally did his first short live session, whispering, "I learned my lesson," the internet collectively lost it. Millions tuned in. Celebrities reposted it with the caption, "Growth looks good on him." But even as the dust began to settle, one final rumor kept buzzing, that T.I. was planning a massive statement. Something that would shake the game again. Whether it was music, a docuseries, or a full-blown tell-all interview, nobody knew. But everyone agreed on one thing: this story wasn't over, because the Harris family had gone from celebrity headlines to something bigger, a symbol of how quickly life can flip, how pain humbles even the proudest, and how love at its rawest makes people rethink everything. T.I. didn't just fight for his son's life, he fought for his legacy. And now, the world's watching to see what he does next. One fan summed it up perfectly in a viral tweet. T.I. built his empire with words. Now he's rebuilding his family with prayers. And that's what makes this more than a story. It's a saga, a resurrection, a moment that reminded the entire culture that behind the fame, the chains, and the headlines, there's still flesh, blood, and heartbreak. King Harris may have clung to life, but now he's living proof that no matter how deep the fall, A comeback can shake the entire world. And that right there, folks, is the definition of a miracle wrapped in madness. From hospital heartbreak to hip-hop redemption, the Harris family just gave the internet its most emotional roller coaster of the year. King Harris didn't just survive. He flipped the script, turned pain into purpose, and made the whole industry stop pretending it's bulletproof. Now the question is, where do you stand? Do you think this was the wake-up call King needed, or just another tragic chapter in the never-ending fame machine? Drop your thoughts in the comments right now, because this debate's about to light up harder than Atlanta. And while you're here, hit that like button like it owes you an apology. Smash subscribe and turn on notifications, because on Trend Tattle, we don't wait for stories to break, we break them open. From rap feuds to real tears, from leaked receipts to legendary comebacks, this is where the truth meets the trendline and the drama never clocks out. They got new chaos dropping faster than a mixtape with no clearance. So stay locked in, keep your popcorn ready, and remember, every headline has a heartbeat. And every scandal has a secret. This is Trend Tattle, where the gossip's loud, the truth's louder, and the next viral shockwave is already loading. Like, comment, subscribe, and don't blink, because the next story might just make this one look peaceful.